If you have a website and your website for voice teaching or music education or coaching, however you want to call it, is not bringing in either regular conversions, aka signups, students, or inquiries, people who are interested in signing up, then this episode is for you, my friend. Let's talk about your website. I'm so excited to talk about this because this is so relevant for me right now. I love bringing episodes to you that feel very relevant to me because, I've tried it a few different ways where I'll just like have a topic picked out. I look at it and then I make an episode for you. But the best episodes, I feel, the ones that really come from my heart, are the ones that are real and raw and very relevant to my life and what is happening. And what is happening in my life right now is I am putting the final touches on my choir's website. My choir is A Big Beautiful Noise. That's the name of it. And so if you go right now to abigbeautifulnoise.com, you will see my website. And I built this. I have built every single website that I have ever had. I have built dozens of other musician websites. I used to be a website designer before I really got into marketing as a whole. I really love brand and website design. I've loved it for a long time. And it's such an interesting conversation because I forget too. I remind myself that your website is the final destination. It is the final point of your brand, and it's the final point of your student journey. Yet, it is often the first thing that we start working on or we want to update when we work on our business. So interesting. Like that. I actually just had a call a couple of weeks ago with a client about this, where she was working on her offer and her new program that she's putting out for singing and voice, and it's awesome. And we went to we had like we basically go a whole month before we see each other again, because I offer monthly coaching to some of my clients where I check in with them once a month. So we did our check-in, we waited a whole month, and then a month later she was like, all right, I did it. I updated my whole website. And I put all these offers on it, and she showed it to me, and it's beautiful. But it was just kind of comical because it was like, well, first of all, we definitely tore it up a little bit. So there was that element of like, we just put all this work into your website and now we're going to take it apart. But also just the sheer thinking that in order to make advances or update our business, whatnot, create an offer, whatever it is that you're working on, the first thing we're going to do is go and update our website. And y'all, that is the last thing I want you to do. That is the last thing I want you to do. I know that sounds crazy, but hear me out. Okay, there's actually two ways you can do this. You can definitely update as you go, for sure. But I do not want you to focus on your website first. And this is where people get all messed up. They open up that blank document, that blank template, whatever it is. And they are like, I have no idea what to even write. So I'm just going to write a little, thing, a little blurb, and then I'll, call it a website, put some pretty colors and pick out my color palette and like put some pictures of me teaching and my headshots, my resume, and oh, there we go. I did my website. And there's so much to talk about. Okay, I'm just going to open with that. Websites are a big conversation, okay? So I ain't going to be helping you fully redesign your website in this one podcast episode. If you want to go and do that, you got to come inside the Voicepreneur program, because there's an entire course in there called Website Makeover. And this is where we actually do dive into how to give your website a makeover with templates and scripts, like literally the most hands-on trainings that you could possibly have to update your website. I digress. The reason I share that is because I just have so many ideas about how to help you with your website. But here's what I really want to hone in on. Your website design is the final piece, just like flyers, right? Just like emails. These are like the final pieces of this whole back-end system, this whole thing that needs to be figured out prior to you updating that, prior to you creating that or sending that in whatever example you want to think of. And so there's that element. And then there's also the element that your website is going to match where you are at in your business journey. And that is beautiful and perfect. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you are feeling like you are ready for an up level, you are in a different place, and you look at your website and you are maybe not so proud of it. Maybe you're like, oh, something about this just doesn't feel quite right, or something about this doesn't flow, or something about this just doesn't feel like me, or it feels outdated, or any of those types of things. Great. Now we're going to move you through these different stages. So let's talk about these stages, because I think this is very, very important. I can hop onto your website and know within 5 seconds what kind of teacher you are and where you are at with your business. I could also probably tell how much money you make, honestly, and how many inquiries you're getting. And again, no shame. It's just the advancing of online marketing and getting better at this craft. In the beginning stage, if you are in the beginner stage of your website journey and maybe in your online business journey, you are speaking to everyone. You are speaking to everyone. You are inviting in everyone. You're inviting in anyone and everyone who can learn, who wants to learn how to sing, right? And so when I say speaking to everyone, here are examples. And these are actual copied and pasted examples that I found from various different websites. So if you hear yours, if you listen to it and you're like, I think that might be me, it might be you, or it might not, because who knows? So here is an example of what I mean by speaking to everyone. This was a quote on a website. Whether you're an experienced singer and you want to better your vocal technique, or you're just starting to explore your voice and your love for music, we have something for you here, right? Let me tell you, I see this all the time. The phrase, whether you're this or whether you're that, and then you give this huge spectrum. Whether you've performed your whole life and you're a serious singer, or you've never sung in your entire life, right? It's like, and we'll talk about why that's a problem in just a second. But that's what I mean when I say speaking to everyone, right? Inviting everyone in, inviting, like the goal of your website. And when you're putting it together energetically, your thought is, I just want somebody in. I just want somebody to sign up. So anybody, anyone, here we go. Let's come on in. Anyone and everyone's welcome, right? You're inviting everybody in. And the other thing that I've noticed is that when you're also in this beginner stage, you tend to put yourself on a little bit of a pedestal to be seen as the, quote, best teacher to work with. And this is natural, again, not again. I don't know if I actually brought this up. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't, but again or not again, nobody taught us how to build a website. Did you take a website design class in college that was part of your music curriculum? No, you did not. I did not. You did not, right? And so I remember when I was learning how to make websites, very, very, very beginning of my time doing this, when I first bought my domains, I opened up the website template and I was like, oh, I guess I should just, I guess I'll put my resume on there, and I'll put I'll put some media, I'll put some clips of me singing, and I'll say that I teach. Yay. And that was my website. And it's just an interesting mindset shift I feel that we have to have, especially being in, let's say, the classical music industry, which is my background, or even contemporary music industry, whatever it is. We tend to think that our resume and our highlights and our, experiences, our credentials, these are the things that are really important. And these are the things that people want, and they want to see in their voice teacher. And I'm here to tell you that that is not true. It's not true. In fact, most students, unless they're really serious, right? They're trying to, sing at the Met, something like that. Most singers don't give a shit. They don't care. I cannot actually think of a single student that asked me where I went to school. And I went to a good school. I went to USC. I got my master's degree from USC, University of Southern California, which is an excellent top-notch school in the country. And I really want to show that off. I probably should hang up my degree. That would be a good idea. But no one has asked me, so where did you go to school? Like literally no one. Why did I even pay for that degree? I don't know. Separate conversation. But nobody fucking cares, honestly. What they care about, and this is the most important thing that I want you to think about every time you look at your website, every time you edit it, anytime you think about it. This is like, if you could take away one thing from this whole episode, one thing that you remember, this is the thing I want you to remember. The question your people are asking themselves when they hop onto your website is, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? So if you're saying, whether you're an experienced singer and you want to better your technique or you're just starting out, they're looking at that literally thinking, okay, so what's in it for me? And if they don't get that question answered, then you haven't done your job. Then they're going to click away and they're not going to sign up and they're not going to reach out. And you are left going, why the F did I spend so much money or so much time making this website and not seeing any fruit for my labor? Right? This is so important. It's so important because this is your messaging. We're going to dive into it, but this is actually like, let's think about these stages again. This is your zone of badassery. This is all about getting in the zone of badass. Okay. We went from beginner stage. I speak to everyone. Yay. Come join. And look, the energy behind it, why I call it the beginner stage, is I really need students. Please help me. I'm a beginner. And that is fine, right? Everybody's got to start somewhere. That's okay. Like when I first put out my website for, let's use the choir as an example, actually, because I just made this website. When I put out my website for the first time for A Big Beautiful Noise, I did the exact same thing. I didn't know who I was speaking to. I was like, yo, if you like to sing, come join us. If you want to hire singers, hire us. I don't really have anything else to say. So yay, here we go. Let's just get some people in the door. And I knew that and I owned that and that was okay. And I recognized that building websites is a process, right? It is a journey. I wasn't in my zone of badass yet because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And so that's okay, right? Like that is okay. That's why we do the thing. That's why we get the experience and we get the wisdom, and then we can go back and then we can get into our zone of badass where we are actually speaking to a specific person and we're making our audience feel a certain way. That is the whole point of your website. You, number one, speak to a specific person. Who are you talking to? Please, no more of the whether you're a blah or a blah. Like you can use that one time. I let you use it one time because I used it one time. I did use that on my update for A Big Beautiful Noise, and it was a very specific spot. It was very intentionally placed. It had the actual title on it that says, "Who sings with us?" And it was a success. It was, oh my God, I can't talk. Hello. It was a section on the website, in a section on the page on the website of the Join Us page. What I'm trying to say is you can do it one time. It has to be very freaking intentional. Okay. That's it. That's the only time that you're allowed to say whether you're a blank or a blank. Otherwise, you are speaking to a very specific person. And I want you to think about, how do you want your audience to feel when they are reading the words? In other words, I want you to really can you get your audience to think, holy shit, she's in my brain. They're in my brain, right? Can you get them to think, oh my God, they are literally in my brain? Yes, sign me up, right? If you can get your audience to think, whoa, did they just read my journal? Are they in my brain? Holy wow, they just articulated what I felt this morning. You are golden, my friend. That is the zone of badass, when you can speak directly to them. So when you say things like, and again, I've copied and pasted this. This was another one. One-on-one online vocal coaching for the passionate singer. Step onto the stage with newfound confidence and freedom. Does that make you feel anything? Does that have your audience go, holy crap, are they in my brain? Oh my God, sign me up. Wow, I literally just called myself a passionate singer this morning. Whoa, yesterday I just thought to myself, gosh, if only I could step onto the stage with newfound confidence and freedom. I'm like dying. No, the answer is no. They don't talk like that. They don't think like that, right? And that is so important. You really want to get into their brain. Like, what are they actually thinking? What are the things that they are thinking? What are they feeling? Right? And can you speak to that on your website? Can you actually have your audience read it and go, holy shit, that is exactly what I'm thinking. Whoa, she like just got right into my brain right there, right? So here are the two main questions that I want you to ask yourself. Okay? Two main questions to ask yourself. Number one, and this is so freaking important. Number one, what is the specific transformation that you help your students with? And, big and the problem that you solve. It has to be both. There is a problem that you solve and a transformation on the other side. And most voice teachers focus on the transformation, but they do not focus on the problem. For example, I've heard this one. I help students awaken their voice and express themselves confidently. Okay, cool. A little fluffy. Not entirely sure what awaken your voice means. I could guess, but like, again, did your person think that this morning? Oh, if only I could just awaken my voice. No, they did not. Right? And also, what is the problem that you're solving? I don't know what the problem is that you're solving. Right? That is not specific enough. I wouldn't even say that's a specific transformation at all. Here is one that is. Try it like this. I help people heal the relationship with their voice through trauma-informed practices and gentle singing exercises. Okay, now I know exactly who you help and I know exactly what you do. I know what the problem is. You are helping those who struggle with speaking or singing or just using their voice at all and to be able to express and articulate their thoughts and their feelings in a safe space without the pressure to perform or sound a certain way. And that is so motherfucking specific. Like that is a very specific voice teacher, right? Quite frankly, that student is not for me. Like I would not feel comfortable teaching that student, but I damn well know the voice teacher who is, right? And I just helped her last week on her messaging, which is why I'm bringing it up because this is this person. And once she nails her messaging on her website, oh my God, it's going to be like everyone who's going to come to her is going to be like, I really literally think you just read my journal. Like, how did you know that I was struggling with this? How did you know that I needed a safe space without any pressure to perform or sound in a certain way or be seen in a certain way, right? That is so specific. That's so different than I hope students awaken their voice and express themselves confidently. That is not problem oriented. There is no specific transformation to that. People are going to look at that and just glaze over it. They don't even know what that means. But when you speak to the very specific problem that they are having, right? I help people heal the relationship with their voice. And then you back it up with gentle singing exercises. You're like, oh, okay, got it. Right? So that's the first thing. What is the specific transformation that you help your audience with and the problem that you solve? Number two, what is the vibe and the energy of working with you? Right? If you can answer those two things, what is the vibe and the energy of working with you? And what I mean by that is like how you talk, how you teach, how your students feel, how you feel, right? And then also like what you teach. What do you teach? What do you talk about? What are the concepts that you love talking about, that you love helping your students with, right? How do they respond? What happens after voice lessons? Oh my gosh, that's a really, really big one. What happens after voice lessons? And then I love this one so much because I just feel like this is the visual component that everybody needs, which is like, what are your colors? What are like the literal colors of you? What do you wear, right? Like for me, I have blonde hair, I have white skin, and I love to wear bright-ish colors, like I would say greens And I usually have like a flare of some sort, like a shawl or bright earrings or something like that. I'm not like overly eccentrically bright, but I definitely have color to me, right? And then you look in my studio and you're like, oh, girl's got a vibe in here. Okay, it's very clear as day, like what my vibe is in my studio, which is also where I record all of my content. And so if you look at any of the videos that I record, whether it's on the Whole Voice or the Voicepreneur or wherever, you get my vibe right away. Right? Like right away. And it's all very intentional. Like literally the wall color, like the peach color of my wall, very intentional. So that stuff is so much fun because that really brings out who you are and like what your natural just, vibe and energy is. And people really, really love that, especially on your website. Here's the last thing I'm going to say. Just because you use a fancy website template with beautiful fonts and colors, and maybe you invested in what am I trying to say? Photo session. Girl cannot talk today. So sorry. A photo session. You invested in a photographer. This does not mean that you are showing us your vibe. Because here's something I want you to think about. Does the vibe on your website match the person that you are in real life? There's so many times that I have met some of you, and no shame, no judgment. It's just an interesting thing where I meet you on, let's say, a Zoom call, and you look completely different than your, images that you have. You're in a dark lit space, and you have a lower energy, and something about you just doesn't translate the same way as your website. Like there's a little mismatch there. And I find this to be a very powerful internal statement for you to process. In other words, like I want you to really reflect on that, right? It's like, how can you in real life match the energy that you want people to experience online? Like, are you actually showing up how you want people to see you? And how can you? How can you on Zoom or you in person be the same you on your website? How can somebody who is on your website meet you for the first time and go, oh yeah, I feel like I already know you, right? I mean, that's like one of my biggest and best compliments I ever receive from people is when I get onto a Zoom call and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm meeting you for the first time because I feel like I know you. I feel like you're like my best friend. And I'm like, I have no idea. Like that is like, you have no idea how much that means to me. That really means a lot to me. And that is the whole fucking point. That's the whole point. Right? That is what your website needs to do. So here's what I want you to do. Reflect on those two questions. The specific transformation, aka the problem that you solve, right? And then what is the vibe and the energy of working with you? What are your colors? How do you teach? How do you talk? How can we see and experience and feel what it is like to be coached by you? There is, again, so much I could cover with websites. That's why this episode was longer. Also because I couldn't talk, but so much longer than the other ones because website is such a big thing. So if you do want to get deeper into this and you want to actually get through every page, every link, every process, the process, okay? The process of getting a student automated. Like literally the first and only time that you interact with a new student is at the first lesson. There's a lot of things that your website is supposed to do for you. Okay. You should not be doing the heavy lifting here. It should be on your website. Your website is the thing that is going to get the inquiries and the conversions. And if it is not doing that right now, let's figure out why. You got to come inside the Voicepreneur program and check out the website makeover course because that is where all of the website magic happens. Okay, my friend, I think that is a long enough episode for you. I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will catch you in the next one.